to borrow Betsy's phrase, I stand before you as a civilian. I have not been a professional in this wonderful program that we all embrace and work with. But it has been one of the great honors and pleasures of my life to be part of it. I'm going to be introducing one of our also former Maggie Kuhn awardees, but first I'd like you to watch a video about the Maggie Kuhn Award so that you know something about who Maggie was and why we aspire to be her model, or she's our model.
Since 1995, PSS has been presenting the Maggie Kuhn Award to an outstanding individual or organization that exemplifies the vision, spirit, and ideals of Maggie Kuhn. Born in Buffalo in 1905, Maggie Kuhn spent most of her childhood in Cleveland and later Memphis. After majoring in English at Case Western Reserve University, her interests in social activism soon became apparent. During the 1930s, Maggie worked for the YWCA, where she was often criticized for teaching women about women's issues and social justice. In the 1940s, she brought that same unconventional approach to her work for the USO. During the 1950s and 60s, Maggie Kuhn worked for the Presbyterian Church in NYC, where she encouraged seminary students to go out and work directly with those living in poverty. In 1970, Maggie, who was then living in Philadelphia, turned 65, and she found herself confronting the mandatory retirement law then in effect. She soon banded together with other retirees, and then, in that very same year, formed the Gray Panthers movement. Seeing all issues of injustice as inevitably linked, Maggie and her Gray Panthers refused to restrict themselves to just elder rights activism, but focused also on peace, politics, poverty, and civil liberties. Maggie and the Gray Panthers gave a voice to not only older adults, but to all those who found themselves disengaged, marginalized, or forgotten. Over the years, the Gray Panthers movement grew, inspiring people across the country to join the good fight. In 1992, Maggie became an advisor and consultant to PSS. When she died in 1995 at the age of 89, PSS was granted approval by her estate to create the Maggie Kuhn Award. Since then, the Maggie Kuhn Award has been presented annually. While the names and the faces of these worthy recipients changed every year, there remains one common denominator. Their leadership and their impact on the community has been consistently of the highest caliber, reflecting what this amazing woman, Maggie Kuhn, was all about. This year we recognize Ruth K. Finkelstein, Executive Director of the Brookdale Center for Healthy Aging and Professor of Urban Public Health at Hunter College. Like Maggie Kuhn, Ruth began her career in Cleveland as a community organizer for the Senior Citizens Coalition, and one of their first major achievements was establishing utility discounts for older adults. Ruth then spent the first two-thirds of her career working in reproductive rights, returning to NYC in the early 1990s when she was recruited to continue her pioneering work in AIDS HIV policy. Dr. Finkelstein has devoted the past decade to transformation of our understanding of aging from a state of decline to a stage in life that is full of challenge and opportunity. Most recently, she served as the Associate Director of the Robert N. Butler Columbia Aging Center, as well as faculty member at the Mailman School of Public Health at Columbia University, where she was responsible for translation of research to policy and practice, particularly in promoting healthy and successful aging. Dr. Finkelstein's signature initiatives at Columbia included the Age Smart Employer Awards, honoring businesses who value workers of all ages, including older workers. The Age Boom Academy, an intensive annual course educating working journalists about specific topics in aging, and Exceeding Expectations, a long-form journalism and digital narrative following 20 New Yorkers over 81. Dr. Finkelstein was also the architect of Age-Friendly New York City, the award-winning initiative to make New York City a great place to grow old. She has been individually honored with a Game Changer 2012 award from Metropolis magazine, and also as one of Next Avenue's influencers in aging. Throughout most of her life, Dr. Finkelstein has displayed the same qualities exemplified by Maggie Kuhn. PSS salutes Dr. Ruth Finkelstein for her tireless efforts to advocate for the older members of our community and we are proud to add her to the roster of honorees who champion the vision and ideals of Maggie Kuhn.
And now to have the distinct pleasure of introducing Dr. Finkelstein, I want to introduce the 2011 Maggie Kuhn Award winner, Lillian Barrios Paoli. Lillian?
So good evening. I have known Ruth for about a dozen years, and I have worked very closely with her for most of that time. And I know, as you know as well, that she was the chief architect of Age Friendly New York, and she has consistently been a challenger to all of us about what aging really means and to look at aging in a very different way. As has been said before, our demographics are changing and persons over 65 become an increasing share of the total population, particularly in New York City. And Ruth has been always somebody who has, at least to me personally, but I think to the whole field, challenged the fact that we have to look at aging in a very different way. We have to look at aging in a positive way. It's not sort of like the twilight of our life, but it's a new beginning in many, many ways. I am very, very pleased that Ruth is now at Hunter College at Brookdale. I am very proud to say that I was the chair of the search committee that found her, although I knew she was there. So I'm very happy. I am also honored to be the co-chair of her advisory board. So I really, every day I look forward to working with her. I think that we all know how very smart Ruth is and how analytical and how challenging in her thinking, but I also know that I enjoy working with Ruth because she has a wicked sense of humor. She is extremely funny, she's extremely perceptive, and she very much makes fun of the ridiculous situations that we as human beings can find ourselves in and bring new understanding to those situations. So I'm really honored to present this award to my friend and my colleague, Ruth Finkelstein.
Well, okay, this is the program. It won't shock anybody here to know that I didn't prepare remarks. This is not one of my strengths. But what I didn't expect was how moved I would be by this time. And I'm worried that my gift of gab may fail me when I'm actually as incredibly honored to be shown on a screen in parallel to Maggie Kuhn, and then to be introduced by a friend and mentor of the importance of Lillian. She's just the Lillian, she needs no more, in my life. And thank you to Remus and to the board of PSS and to the selection committee for kind of humbling this brash New York girl for a minute. I really feel humbled, and I feel further humbled when I look at this list of the former awardees of the Maggie Kuhn Award, and to recognize that I've worked with so many of them and stood on the shoulders of all of them for everything I've done. I feel like, really, if I do have a gift, it's to pull out of the air what all of you are putting into it. I don't feel like I create new things. I feel like I distill your things. I sort of crystallize them down. And to look at this list of people, as I say, on whose shoulders I've stood as I've done that. I mean, I was the associate director of Bob Butler's Aging Center at Columbia. My full title is now the Rose Dobroz Executive Director of the Hunter Aging Center. And I all the time have this image that Rose is smiling. You know, that Rose is glad. She feels like, not because I'm there, but because we're here, that we're going in the right direction on this issue. You know, she was pressing. She was 30 years ahead of her time. I'm about 10 minutes ahead of mine, and I'm looking forward to all of you catching and surpassing and carrying the flag and flame forward. Thank you.